Donald J. Trump's victory in the presidential election sent a clear message. The American people wanted change. This was not just any change, but a significant shift from the traditional political landscape that had dominated Washington for decades. They were tired of the status quo, tired of empty promises, and disillusioned by the lack of real progress. The American people felt their voices were not being heard, their concerns were being overlooked, and their needs were being ignored. They were tired of leaders who put special interests before the needs of everyday citizens. The call to drain the swamp became a rallying cry for those who felt that Washington had become a place where only the elite thrived. Trump's victory was a rejection of the political establishment and a resounding endorsement of his America First agenda. His campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," resonated deeply with those who felt that the country had lost its way. From the beginning, Trump tapped into a deep well of frustration among voters who felt ignored and left behind. He spoke to the heart of their issues, addressing the economic and social challenges that many Americans faced daily. He promised to bring back jobs, rebuild the economy, and revitalize industries that had been neglected. His focus on manufacturing and small businesses struck a chord with those who had seen their livelihoods disappear. He also vowed to restore America's standing in the world, promising a foreign policy that put American interests first. This message of strength and independence appealed to many who felt that the country had been too accommodating on the global stage. His message resonated with millions of Americans who were hungry for a leader who would fight for them. They saw in Trump a champion who was unafraid to challenge the status quo and take on the entrenched powers. Trump's victory was a testament to the power of his message and the strength of his connection with the American people. He built a movement that transcended traditional political boundaries, bringing together a diverse coalition of supporters. He understood their hopes, their dreams, and their frustrations. He listened to their stories and made them feel seen and heard in a way that many felt had been missing from politics for a long time. He spoke directly to them in plain language and offered them a vision of a stronger, more prosperous America. His straightforward approach and unfiltered communication style broke through the noise and connected with people on a personal level. In the face of relentless opposition from the media, the political establishment, and the cultural elite, Trump persevered. He faced constant scrutiny and criticism, yet he remained steadfast in his mission. He never backed down from a fight and never stopped believing in the American people. His resilience and determination became a hallmark of his campaign and his presidency. And in the end, they rewarded him with their trust and their votes. The election of Donald Trump was a defining moment in American history, a moment when the people chose a new direction and a new leader who promised to put them first. One of President Trump's signature achievements was his remarkable success in revitalizing the American economy. Under his leadership, the economy experienced unprecedented growth, with low unemployment rates and soaring stock market numbers. Trump's pro-business policies, including tax cuts and deregulation, unleashed a wave of economic activity, creating jobs and opportunities for Americans across all walks of life. Before Trump took office, the American economy was stagnant. The unemployment rate was high, wages were stagnant, and businesses were struggling under the weight of burdensome regulations. Trump's predecessor had promised hope and change, but delivered neither. Trump's economic policies were a breath of fresh air for businesses large and small. He cut taxes, rolled back regulations, and unleashed the power of the free market. The results were undeniable. The economy boomed, jobs were created, and wages began to rise. For the first time in decades, Americans were optimistic about the future. They had money in their pockets, jobs to go to, and a renewed sense of pride in their country. Trump had delivered on his promise to make America great again. President Trump understood that a nation without secure borders is no nation at all. He recognized that the integrity of a country's borders is fundamental to its sovereignty and security. He made it a cornerstone of his presidency to enforce immigration laws, secure the border, and protect American citizens from the dangers of illegal immigration. This was not just a political stance, but a commitment to the safety and well-being of every American. His strong stance on this issue resonated with millions of Americans who were concerned about the impact of illegal immigration on their communities, their safety, and their way of life. These citizens saw firsthand the challenges and threats posed by a porous border. For years, previous administrations had failed to address the growing crisis at the border. Despite numerous promises and plans, the situation only worsened, leaving communities vulnerable and overwhelmed. Illegal immigration had spiraled out of control, with devastating consequences for American communities. Local resources were stretched thin, and the social fabric of many areas was under strain. Drugs were pouring across the border, fueling the opioid epidemic that was ravaging families and communities. The unchecked flow of illegal substances was a direct threat to public health and safety. Trump took a different approach. He was determined to tackle the issue head-on with decisive action and clear policies. He understood that the first duty of any government is to protect its own citizens. This principle guided his administration's efforts to enhance border security. He increased border security, cracked down on illegal immigration, and sent a clear message that the days of open borders were over. His administration worked tirelessly to build and reinforce physical barriers, deploy advanced technology, and support the men and women of Border Patrol. Trump's policies were met with fierce resistance from the open borders left, but he stood firm. Despite the political and media backlash, he remained committed to his vision of a secure and sovereign America. He knew that he was doing what was right for the country and for the American people. His resolve was unwavering, and his leadership inspired confidence among his supporters and those who believed in a secure America. And the results spoke for themselves. Illegal immigration declined, border security was enhanced, and American communities were safer. Tangible improvements in border security and the reduction in illegal crossings were a testament to the effectiveness of his policies. Families could feel safer knowing that their government was taking concrete steps to protect them. Section 4. Championing women's rights, a reality beyond the media narrative. Despite the relentless attacks from the mainstream media, President Trump has consistently demonstrated a strong commitment to protecting women's rights. His policies have empowered women in the workplace, promoted their safety and security, and ensured that their voices are heard. From his support for women entrepreneurs to his efforts to combat human trafficking, Trump's record on women's rights is clear and undeniable. The media would have you believe that Trump is anti-woman. They point to his rhetoric, his personal life, and his policies as evidence of his supposed misogyny. But the facts tell a different story. Trump has consistently surrounded himself with strong, capable women. He appointed more women to his cabinet than any president in history. He nominated the first female CIA director and the first female Supreme Court justice in decades. Trump's policies have also benefited women in concrete ways. He signed into law a bill that provides paid family leave for federal workers. He expanded access to affordable childcare, and he worked to close the gender pay gap. Section 5. Trump and the LGBTQ+ community, a record of support. Contrary to the distorted narrative often presented by the left, President Trump has consistently demonstrated respect and support for the LGBTQ+ community. His actions and policies have often been misrepresented, but a closer look reveals a different story. His administration has taken concrete steps to protect the rights of LGBTQ+ individuals, both domestically and abroad. This includes initiatives aimed at decriminalizing homosexuality worldwide and ensuring that LGBTQ+ individuals are treated with dignity and respect. From his condemnation of the persecution of gay people in Chechnya to his appointment of openly gay individuals to key positions in his administration, Trump's actions speak louder than the false accusations of his detractors. These appointments include Richard Grenell, who served as the US ambassador to Germany and later as acting director of national intelligence, making him the first openly gay person to hold a US cabinet-level position. The left would have you believe that Trump is a homophobe. They often highlight his association with conservative religious groups and his stance on certain social issues as evidence of his supposed bigotry. They point to his rhetoric, his policies, and his association with certain religious groups as evidence of his supposed bigotry. However, these claims often ignore the broader context of his actions and the diversity of his supporters. But the facts tell a different story. Trump's administration has made significant strides in promoting equality and protecting the rights of LGBTQ+ individuals. Trump has repeatedly stated that he believes in equal rights for all Americans regardless of sexual orientation. He has emphasized that everyone should be treated fairly and with respect. He has said that he has no problem with gay people and that they should be treated like everyone else. This sentiment has been reflected in his policies and public statements. Trump's actions have been consistent with his words. His administration has worked to ensure that LGBTQ+ individuals have the same opportunities and protections as everyone else. He has appointed openly gay individuals to high-level positions in his administration. These appointments are a testament to his commitment to diversity and inclusion. He has defended the rights of LGBTQ+ people to serve in the military. Despite facing criticism, he has maintained that everyone who is willing and able to serve should have the opportunity to do so, and he has spoken out against the persecution of LGBTQ+ people around the world. His administration has taken a strong stance on human rights, advocating for the protection of LGBTQ+ individuals in countries where they face discrimination and violence. Trump's efforts to promote LGBTQ+ rights have not been limited to the United States. He has used his platform on the global stage to call for an end to the criminalization of homosexuality and to support LGBTQ+ rights internationally. In conclusion, while the narrative often pushed by his critics paints a negative picture, the reality is that President Trump has a record of supporting the LGBTQ+ community. His actions, both domestically and internationally, reflect a commitment to equality and human rights for all.